Are you guys good? Are you good? How many of us here have a goal, have a dream, and something they want to achieve and make their lives a better place? Show me a hand. If you have a goal and you have a dream and you've got something that you want to achieve in your life, can you look at the person sitting next to you and tell them you've got something special within you? To create excellent future leaders, we need to first create excellent interns. You guys are the future of what we call the finance industry. You guys are going to be the one that will be controlling all the assets of the different municipalities. And maybe take a moment and let that sink, because it's possible. And not only is that possible, but it's necessary. Because as a country, we have come to a point where this thing of succession has become a problem. So it's a question that is being asked on the news, being asked everywhere, and I'm glad that CIGFARO takes it with both hands and is able to make sure that they are empowering you to actually take up the baton when these guys who are older are gone. And for that, I'd like us to give us CIGFARO a round of applause. I've had the privilege to actually travel South Africa and the world, delivering talks, keynote presentations, and most importantly, empowering young people to actually believe in their dreams. So I'm here today. I was tasked to actually come and speak about walking in excellence. Excellence is a very broad term, a very big word. And I want to tell you today that you have a little bit of excellence within you. Our biggest problem is that we have stopped believing and understanding that. So today, in the next few minutes that I have, I'm going to share my talk, which I've had the privilege to deliver South Africa over and in the world. It's titled, The Next Level Mindset. I'm going to teach you 3 things that will help you to walk in excellence, and not only walk in excellence, but move in a direction that your life will only move higher and higher and higher if you implement. Why do I say that? It's because the 3 things I'm going to teach you today are the things that made me move from Guaduguza, a small town in the north coast of where we are, to speaking in some of the world's greatest arenas. 3 things. Number 1 is to think. Number 2 is to execute. And number 3 is to dominate. I'm sure you've heard all of the technicalities of how being a CFO, how being an asset manager is. Maybe this is the last one. I'm here to inspire you and actually help you when you go back home to remember that you are a special person in the world and you have a place to be here. You belong here. You deserve to be here. And there's nobody who can tell you otherwise than that. And the reality of the matter is that the position that you have, never take it for granted, because there's somebody out there who wishes they were in your seat. So no matter how low you think you are right now, I want to remind you that you are actually at a positive. So today we're going to speak about something interesting. We're going to touch on thinking. Is our thinking right? Are we thinking in the right way? Do you think that you deserve to actually fill in that position that you are trying to get? Do you deserve to be the next big thing, the next CFO? How is your thinking? Have you ever questioned the fact that we allow too many things that are not important to get into our thoughts and into our minds? As a result, it turns us to be people who are negative towards life. We don't question what we think. But today I encourage you, when you go back, when you go home, can you take a moment, take a minute, think on how you think. Because how you think then transforms to what you become. You can never, ever achieve in life what you've never envisioned. I'm going to say that again. You can never, ever achieve in life what you've never envisioned. You have to first see it in your mind, believe it in your heart, and actually start pursuing it. But it all begins here. All of us here know big brands that we love. We know big brands that we love. I want to tell you that every big brand, everything, if you take a look around this room, everything that we call life was created by people who are no different from me and you. We love the iPhone today. It was once a thought to a man called Steve Jobs. So you're thinking. We've got to reach a point where we question our thinking. Where do you see yourself? When you stand in front of a mirror every morning before you go to work, do you see yourself as somebody who won't have a position by the time they finish their 12th month? Do you see yourself as somebody who does not deserve to be in the space that you are in? When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Because that's a very important matter. If you don't see yourself as somebody important, it is impossible for other people to see you as someone important. The way you carry yourself is also taken from the way you think. So how are you thinking? Are you thinking right? Because our thinking then influences what I call our belief. As I was telling you, I grew up in the small town just in the north coast of where we are called Guaduguza in a place called Groutville. In this small place, it is known for a lot, as you know, in our black townships, there's a lot of crime. It's a thing we cannot run away from. Growing up there, I had to man up. My mother used to sell pies just to take me to school and ensure that I finished my high school. Grew up in a family with my grandfather and only ladies in the house. My mother would come back from work late at night. She'd come back around the hours of 7, 8 sometimes from selling pies. And now, the thing was, in the community where we stayed, everybody knew at the bus stop where the taxi will drop her off, criminals were there. In the community where we lived, everybody knew that in that space, people were being mugged, people were being stabbed. And in other cases, there were people who would even die and lose their lives just by a young robber trying to get a cell phone of an old lady. It was a reality. Now, in winter, it would get very dark. My mother, being a female, she would come very late in the afternoon, and she'd have to walk by herself for maybe about 1 kilometer to the house from the bus stop. I had to decide that I had to man up and say, I'm going to go and actually wait for my mom. And I did. Because I looked at home, my grandfather was old. He was not going to be the man who's going to go and actually wait for my mother at the bus stop. He's an old man. Those robbers will give him 2 feet and it'd be done with him. So I did. I went. So this is what I did. Because I knew I was scared also. I took my grandmother's lobola jazz. Do you guys know what's a lobola jazz? You know what's a lobola jazz? I took my grandmother's lobola jazz, and it was very long. I was short at the time, like literally very long. I took it, I wore it. When I was walking, it would be like, I'm an undertaker. Do you know wrestling? Undertaker from the wrestling. I'd look like that. So I'd go and I'd wait underneath that tree. I took my grandfather's isagila. What's isagila in English? Ini? Yes, not kill. Sagil. So ngatata. I took my grandfather's sagil and I went for it. Then I decided to go. Now, at that bus stop, where the criminals used to stand was under a big tree which was very dark and wait for the people. Now I had to be smart. So I didn't go to the exact bus stop where there's a street light. I went exactly underneath that tree where the criminals would go. And I stood there with the long coat and my sakila. And believe me, I waited for my mother until I matriculated. Here's the thing. Everybody in the community knew that it was dangerous. Everybody knew that people were being killed. At one point, my mother said, I'm going to give you a clap. You mustn't come here. These people are going to kill you and me together. I was like, how can you be like this woman? So I waited and waited. And here's the thing. For all of that time, not one day was she ever robbed. I'm sure when the criminals, maybe they came, they saw me under there with that jazz, they ran away. Probably is that, you'll never know. But here's the thing that we have changed. The one thing that really I want to put across to you is that for some reason I was scared. But for some reason I believed that I could save her. I believed, deep down inside me, I believed that I could save her. And because of me believing, nothing ever happened. It actually became a reality. So I'm reminding you today, African child, that it's not too late to start believing again in your dreams, in your hopes, and in you actually becoming and reaching that position that you want to reach. It's time for us to believe in our own solutions. It's time. There's a quote that is always circulating on social media that says, Africa is not poor, it's resources that are poorly managed. And it's true. I can name drop a lot of great African people who've created great inventions that have just never been mentioned. But the thing is, I'm reminding you today, you will be told a lot of things. I hope you remember this. If you look at the light bulb, everybody will tell you that Thomas Edison made it happen. It's true. He created the light bulb. But they'll never tell you that it was a black man by the name of Louis Latimer who created the light switch. We celebrate that today, Chris Bernard, successful transplant. But they'll never tell you the first successful eye surgery was done by a black lady, Dr. Patricia Barth of Mali. This is me reminding you, African child, that the richest person to ever live is not Jeff Bezos of Amazon. It was a black man from Mali, King Musa I. So just in case you're not sure about the greatness you have inside you, I'm just telling you, your ancestors did it. You can do it again. When our thinking is right, the most important thing is then we need to execute. Execute, execute, execute. I always say that thinking is great, but execution is worshipped. Thinking is great, but execution is worshipped. People that execute are the people that initially then become great in life. You need to believe in yourself, believe in what you do, believe in what you have to want to achieve, and also understand this. Sometimes you'll be afraid, but you need to just do it anyway. Sometimes you'll be scared. It's okay. Sometimes you'll be booed off stage. It's okay. When I started public speaking a few years ago in high school, it was a different scenario. It was a different case. I remember I was standing in front of the assembly area, full. In our schools, it's not like the private schools. We had about 1,000+ learners. I'm a young boy out there trying to fulfill this dream of public speaking and become something in life. I stood in front of these kids trying to read this speech. I remember the speech was about Dr. Nelson Mandela. I read the first 3 lines, trying to present it. It was quiet. They started talking in the back. And then one boy in the back, he said, get out of there, you're wasting our time. I was hurt at first. And then I tried to keep continuing to execute what I had to do. I continued reading. I looked at a speech. I delivered it. And then I heard a paper coming from the back. They threw it. It hit my nose. I remember it hit my nose and it fell onto the paper that I had in my hands. And I could swear a tear coming down of one eye. I didn't know what to do, but only cry in shame, and I walked off the stage that day. When I walked off, I remember very well, there was a lady who became my mentor. She still does mentor me today. My English teacher. She says to me, what people do and what people say to you about your dream is none of your business, but what you say to yourself, now that matters. At first, I didn't understand because I was angry, frustrated. I wanted to kick that boy's but I had to calm down. I said, no, it's okay. This lady believed in me. She called me again in the assembly area. I refused. I said, no, I'm not about to embarrass myself again. She kept on believing in me. So what I'm saying to you with this, your mentors that you have, They have years of experience. They understand the journey. If you listen to them, you are cutting down your learning 8 years. You are taking their years of learning and putting them into your 20-something years old. So you are learning from a 50-year-old, a 40-year-old. Things that took them 40 years to learn, you are learning them while you are 20-something. So I'm reminding you, listen to them. Not only listen to them, but learn from them. As I was standing there, I remember I got another chance. They booed me off stage again, throwing papers again at me, but still I continued to execute. Because execution has nothing to do with the failures that you meet. The failures and challenges that you get along the way, those are part of the process. There's no victory without failure. It doesn't exist. And it's never going to be easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would make it. If it were easy, this room, because you are here, this room, we would need maybe 10 to 20 times of these rooms if it was easy. Because you're here, you took the time, you went to study, you got the degree, and you were chosen to be here. And because of that, take a moment and take it in and say, I deserve this. Now I want to tell you about execution. When we execute, this, what you see on the screen, is called the Belgian horse. It's called the Belgian draft horse. The Belgian draft horse is the strongest horse in the planet. This horse was used back in the days by the Belgians to actually race. They created a draft race, racing on seeing which horse can carry the most logs in God. The study being done is that this horse, one horse, can pull up to 8,000 pounds. Two of these horses, they can pull 18,000 pounds. Two. But here's a spin to it. If these horses grow together, train together, they can pull up to 36,000 pounds. I asked myself, how is this possible? And then I remembered that in the world that we live in, we are far more stronger working together than trying to pull apart. So what I'm saying is your mentor is able to pull 8,000 pounds alone. But with your help, strong, hand in hand, working together, learning from them, together you can pull 2-3 times the weight that they are pulling. If they train you, if you learn from them, they are giving you a skill that you will need in your life. So always remember, working together is very important. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. The question is, how far do you want to go and take your career? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now? Do you even have an idea of where you want to be in 5 years? Don't live life just on the day, but allow yourself to become better each and every day and have a plan for your life. How many of us here have a plan for their life, that know that in 5 years, this is what I want? That's a big, 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 big problem that we have within our society. Young people, you need to start having a plan for your life. It's important. If you don't have a plan, life will just throw you whatever it throws at you. And remember this, if you're writing it down, write this down. Don't ever take what life gives to you, but create what you want out of life. Dominate. When you have mastered the ability to execute, your last thing is to dominate in your space, in what you do. I don't want you to be just another intern. You've got to be the best intern. I know a guy who used to cut lawns. Waikunduchan, stays in Westville. He used to cut grass. That guy was the best here in Durban in cutting grass. All the estates, all the gated estates, they'd come to this guy and ask him to come and cut their grass. That guy was so good, he would cut and actually shave your name into the grass. He was that good. Today, because he dominated his space, he makes millions. He runs a company today that cuts grass. But he's smart. I like what he did. He then said, I'll still cut the grass, but if you want me in person, I'll charge you double. So I'm saying in your space where you are, you need to dominate. I told this to another conference. I was saying, even if you're the tea lady, you need to make the best tea ever. If you're that intern, you need to be so good at what you do, you need to be like Messi scores a goal. You need to be so good at what you do, you must be like Picasso makes a painting. You must be so good at what you do that nobody can do it any better than you. Not the living, not the dead, not even the unborn can do it any better. You have to be that good. I remember it was a dream for me. I said I wanted to be the best speaker here in KZN. Back in the days. I then took it and made it serious and took it personal. And I kept on doing it, executing. And then I reached a point where I was dominating. If you see in that picture, I was on Morning Live. They were interviewing me about my book. Last year, my interview was the last interview for the year. Dominating in your own space. It's very critical. It's very important. If you're going to become anything in life, you need to dominate. Because when you dominate and when you excel where you are, that promotion that you are running after, it won't just be a wish. It will come to you. Excel where you are. Who knows this lady? Do you know who's this lady? Who's this lady? Name me 5 other tennis players. Do you know why you don't know them? It's because she dominates. Even when she loses, she still dominates. She has mastered the art in what she does. She has dominated it. Who knows this gentleman? I see you, ladies. I see you. I see you. I see you, ladies. I'm sorry, Messi supporters. I'm sorry, guys. It's okay. It's all right. But here's the thing. This guy, he dominates. This guy, after everybody's done in the training session, he stays for 2 hours more. This guy goes to the gym more than every other player. We respect Messi, we love Messi, but Messi is more talent than hard work. This guy is pure hard work. So what I'm saying to you is, sometimes the problem is not that they don't want to promote you. The problem is that you're not working hard enough. Are you putting in the extra hours? Because, hey, the journey to greatness and the journey to promotion requires you to go the extra mile. And if you're not going the extra mile, chances are they'll look for someone else. Yeah. And you don't want them looking for someone else when you are here. This is your time. This is your chance. And you need to dominate that space that you are in. Excel where you are. You need to know everything there is to know about what you are doing. I mean, to a point that you need to know all of these gentlemen who come and stand here. Because then you must remind them, I'm coming after that position that you have. They must know it. In fact, tell them, guys, we're coming for those positions. No, I want you to tell them. You're not telling them. Okay, lastly, and then I sit down. Exactly 5 years ago, I started this journey of radio. Every community radio that you can think of in KZN, I have motivated and contributed in it. Every one of them. I've been there. 5 years of consistent hard work, 5 years of persistency and working very hard. He wasn't lying when he was telling you that I'm the only motivational speaker, that has a show on radio that only focuses on empowerment. No one else. You can look around. Cop all the radio stations, there's no one else. Only. How did I be able to pull that off? Out of consistency and dominating in what you do. And I'm merely telling you that not because I'm boasting about it. I'm trying to tell you that if you put your mind and heart into something, you can actually achieve great results. And always remember this when you live this conference, because the biggest problem that we have is that people attend conferences, and when they leave, the minute they walk out the door, they've forgotten everything they learned. So I hope you're not that person. I hope the money spent here is worth your energy. Whatever notes that you took down, I'm just saying to you, can you go and try at least implement one thing? Just one. And believe me, next year, we will be talking a different story. After that 12 months, we'll be talking a different story. We may laugh and enjoy what they're saying, the information they're throwing at you guys. But hey, guess what? It's the actual information that will take you to your next promotion. So whatever you are actually facing right now, whatever challenges, I'm saying to you, those challenges are actually plans and processes that are taking you to the next promotion. So if you feel it's difficult, good. In fact, you must ask God to give you more difficult, because with more difficulty, more opportunities come. You need to understand this. Where there is chaos, there's money. So you need to now walk out of this room. If having heard one thing from Fortune, I want you to hear this. Excel where you are. Excel where you are. Because if you excel where you are, walking the journey of excellence becomes easy. Because excellence is an attitude more than anything. In my own company, when we hire, I don't hire people because of their qualifications. I hire them because of their attitude. And sometimes even in the organizations that you guys are in, they don't necessarily hire you only because you got that qualification, but your attitude matters. So if you're going to have any sort of attitude, have the attitude of excellence. Mind yourself to be a person of excellence. Push yourself to be a person of excellence. And then, because I have to say this, it takes courage to be great. It takes courage to want to become a CFO, knowing very well in your own family nobody has ever even thought of being a CFO. It takes courage for you to actually go after a degree that nobody in your whole community has ever achieved. It takes courage to actually believe that you, being a small girl from a rural area, you can actually change the world and change the way people see you. It takes courage, period. So if you leave here today, I plead you, please make sure you implement even just one thing. And then remember, excellence is the ultimate attitude for success. Go well.